Hey everyone, Justin and Jesse Klein here. Today we're going to talk through how to successfully sell your home before purchasing a new one. This is kind of a hot topic right now with not much inventory on the market. This is something that people bring up with me often. Okay, well, if I sell my home, what am I going to do next? So we want to kind of break it down how to successfully do this and reduce the stress of the process. So it's really a three-step process. The first one is figuring out how much your home is worth through a CMA. And then the second one is doing a little bit of research online, looking at past sales over the last couple of months, figuring out how much a home that you would actually want to purchase costs, and then going and selling your home.
So to figure out how much your home is worth, we do what's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis, and we look at what's sold in the neighborhood, what's active in the neighborhood, what listings failed to sell in the neighborhood and came off the market. And what we do is, let's say that a house sold in the neighborhood for 1.4 million. We're going to look at what style it is, how the location is, how big is the lot, what's the square footage of the home, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, parking. And we're going to compare all of that to your home. And then we're going to make deductions and additions for any features that are different. So let's say that your home has a 2-car garage and this one only has a 1-car garage. Okay, well, we might add $40,000 or $50,000 for having that extra garage. Let's say that you have 3 bedrooms upstairs. This home has 4 bedrooms upstairs. Well, we might have to deduct maybe $30,000 for you not having that extra bedroom, because what that does is it broadens the market. Now all of a sudden, families with 3 kids can purchase your home and put all them in independent bedrooms upstairs, versus a home with only 3 bedrooms upstairs can only have 2 kids upstairs. That really cuts out a lot of families that can buy the home. Or maybe that home has a suite and yours doesn't. Well, we might have to take off $70,000 because that suite broadens the home who can buy it, because now people that need that rental income can purchase the home. And this is how a CMA works. So we're going to add costs, we're going to minus costs. And ideally, you want to get a home that's as similar as possible to yours. Things like lot size, it's pretty hard to adjust. If yours is a 10,000 square foot lot and the one that just sold is an 8,000 square foot lot, how much do we add for that? Well, maybe $100,000, $120,000, but it's really tough to know. And it also depends how much of it's usable. How big's the backyard? Are there big trees in the backyard that block the sun and make it hard to build anything? So there's so many different factors. Really, it is more art than science. And it's about hiring a realtor or getting the advice of a realtor who looks at these homes every single day and what they're selling for and knows how to kind of make these adjustments to figure out how much yours is worth.
Would you say you could get an appraiser to do this instead of a realtor?
You definitely could. The only thing with an appraiser is I've seen them off by up to $300,000 on houses, just because I find that sometimes they can miss the forest for the trees. They might see a 17,000 square foot lot and then add a couple $100,000 over a 10,000 square foot lot, but fail to miss that, like, the 17,000 square foot lot is the yard was it was a very wide lot and it doesn't go very deep, and then it was sloped, so it's not super usable, and then a lot of the yards off on the sides. So what are you going to do with that? It still feels like even an 8,000 square foot lot. This is a real story. And so the appraiser can sometimes miss stuff like that, where it's like, this is what the buyer pool currently wants and will pay for, but they might kind of miss some of those features because they're not out working with these buyers every day, hearing what they're saying. And with that said, a lot of appraisers are good. They do a good job, and realtors miss too. I've seen realtors' estimates off a lot too, but just an appraiser is not the final word. At the end of the day, the final word is how much a buyer is willing to pay in today's market. That is the final word of how much property is worth.
So once you have a general idea of how much you could get your home for, you're going to want to go out and research potential homes. Now, the best way to do this is figure out what these homes are actually bought for. So using a website where you can see recent sales, you can do that on our website if you click the link below. And then now you're going to be able to know your budget. And depending on the market, if we're in an upwards market and you go 3 months back, might not be a good representation of what the value of one of those homes is actually worth today. Same going for a downwards market. So again, this is something you're going to want to discuss with your realtor, but looking at those previous sales is going to be a general guide for how much you're going to need to pay to get into that home that you like. And then the last step is actually selling your home. Different realtors obviously will do this different, have different marketing strategies. We'll give you a general idea of what our marketing strategy is to help get your home sold, and obviously with the goal of getting top dollar. So the first question that people often ask is, well, what about staging? Do I need to stage my home? And we actually did a full video on how to prepare your home for sale, where we discuss staging and renovations and cleaning. But just as a general guide, the first things that you're going to want to do is clean, declutter, and depersonalize your home. Definitely worth hiring cleaners or just spending a day deep cleaning your home. And then in terms of staging, it's not something that realtors typically provide in Vancouver. In other areas like the US or Toronto, where their commissions are much larger than ours, up to 2 times the size of ours, this is a service that can be provided. But staging is really meant for a home that's vacant. And if you're selling a vacant home that's got no furniture in it and it's not just being sold as a lot or something that's going to be torn down, staging is actually a really good option that can get you more money. And then just to highlight other things that help sell your home, obviously photography is extremely important. That's what everyone's going to see and vet your property before going and actually booking a listing. Once they get to the listing, having nice brochures and write-ups so that they can feel like an experience in the home, and obviously getting it on the MLS so that as many buyers can see it as possible. You don't want to be hiding your listing through a private sale or anything like that. Social media advertising, depending on your realtor, how big their database is, and social media. And then also your realtor getting calls out and emails to people who potentially are looking for this type of home. Print advertising, international marketing, making sure that people who only speak other languages see your listing and understand it as well. Open houses, depending on the style of house. Extremely luxury houses, you don't typically do an open house, but open houses are great for getting more people through the door. And then lastly, negotiation. And this is probably the one where you're going to see the most fluctuation between realtors. Some realtors are this may be their strength and some aren't. We pride ourselves on negotiating for our clients and finding great deals.
And ideally, we can get you a long closing for your property, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 months. And that means that you can live in the property for all this time, and we can go out. We got a month or 2 to shop for another property for you to buy. And then you can commit to a 60-day closing, say on that one, and then line up your dates perfectly so that you get the money from the property that you own. And then you still have a few days in between there until you have to move out at the end after your closing. And then so you get the money, and then the next day you take that money, you put it towards your new property. And then the day after that, you move into your new property. And then maybe the day after that, or the day, even 2 days after that, you have to move out of your old property. So I know that sounds like a lot, but normally we're able to line all the dates up perfectly. So that the money transfers fluidly. You don't have to stay in a hotel in between the move. And then also you've got a month or 2. The long closing gives you a month or 2 to get out there and shop and find a new property so that you don't have to stay in a hotel, and everything lines up perfectly. So, and we've had pretty good success rate doing that. So it sounds like a lot, but usually we're able to make it happen.
Yeah, so this is a big worry for a lot of people. Obviously, this topic can be extremely daunting and prevent people from putting their house on the market or procrastinating from it. But ultimately, if you prepare and you break it down, it shouldn't be too scary.